I remember texting my mom, texting my dad, texting my wife because she was at work at the time, that I love you. I just want you to know that, because I thought I was going to die at that moment. My heart was pumping out of my chest. This was scaring me. And I remember I was just laying on the ground, kicking my feet up, trying to get my heart rate to come down, not really understanding what's going on with me. Why is this happening to me? I told myself that I would sleep in. Who am I kidding? This is the same person that wakes up at 3:45 to 4 a.m. most mornings. My idea of sleeping in, ladies and gentlemen, is about 7:30 a.m., 8 a.m. But that doesn't happen. 6 a.m., I'm up. Wife is up. She has to work. I can't go back to sleep. So what better thing to do with this morning time while it's not really hot outside at the moment? Don't forget I'm in Florida. Than to make a YouTube video about a subject that I have never talked about publicly. What better place to be vulnerable than YouTube, right? You never know how people are going to take it, whether they're going to run with it, whether they're going to embrace it, whether they're going to weaponize it against you or not. Airplane. You know, up until this point, I've only told close friends, and my wife obviously knows about this. And I never thought I would necessarily be talking about it publicly because I didn't see the point, but the more I venture into YouTube, the more I'm discovering that people are very appreciative of the content that's being created. And for that, I want to thank you for your support. Thank you for your kind words, the comments, the likes, the shares. I really, really appreciate it very, very much. You know, this channel is for you. This channel is to give perspective and insight on various different things that some people may not necessarily want to talk about. And we're going to continue to stay true to that as far into the future as we can carry this channel. Let's talk about anxiety. You know, as a kid, I never really felt anxious, but I did always kind of feel as if I was being rushed, or I felt like I needed to do things in a hurry. Now, I remember my grandmother, she would tell me, you know, you need to slow down. You're always like on your toes. You take your time, take your time. That's what it was right there. I remember take your time throughout my entire childhood, but I never took heed. Always felt like I needed to keep moving. I needed to do something. I needed to be somewhere. Something needed to be done at a particular time. That was just me. All throughout my teenage years, all throughout my young adult years, and even still in my late 30s, I still wrestle with this a little bit. When I started working out, I started venturing into the field of pre-workout supplements and things of that nature, caffeinated beverages, energy drinks, stuff like that. And I realized in 2015 that I have caffeinated induced anxiety. So if you don't know what that means, basically, you know, when you consume too much caffeine, you basically are dehydrating yourself. You don't drink enough water, that is, because caffeine does act as a diuretic if you drink too much of it. And I remember doing coffee, energy drinks, pre-workout, stuff of that nature. And one day I was at work and I had this really strange feeling of panic come over me. I had never felt it before. I remember everything about that day because I thought I was going to die. I remember it perfectly. I Ended up leaving work. I told him I had to go. It was an emergency. I'm driving home. I worked in another city at the time, so I had about a good 30 to 40 minutes for me to get home. And I remember texting my mom, texting my dad, texting my wife because she was at work at the time, that I love you. I just want you to know that. Because I thought I was going to die at that moment. My heart was pumping out of my chest. This was scaring me. I was getting shortness of breath. And then I made it home. And I remember just laying on the ground, kicking my feet up, trying to get my heart rate to come down, not really understanding what's going on with me. Why is this happening to me? So then the only thing I can really think to do was to drink water. Because that morning I had a lot of caffeine, and then the night before that, I had worked out and had pre-workout and things of that nature. Now, mind you, prior to that particular day, I never had a problem until that day. So as I'm laying on the floor, I'm drinking water, taking in as much fluid as I possibly can to flush out this caffeine. And it took nearly the entire day for me to feel normal again. And it scared me so bad. I was like, I'm not gonna take any more pre-workout. I'm done. Screw this. I don't want to feel like that ever again. And it didn't happen again. It did not happen again until a number of years later. I had moments, once again, of panic, drinking too much caffeine, drinking too much coffee. Now, some of you are probably going to be like, if you know that that's what's doing it to you, then why do you keep drinking it? Why do people drink alcohol if it gets you drunk? If you drink too much of it, right? Anything in moderation you can control. So if you're going to drink coffee, then make sure you're staying hydrated, of course. Now, the energy drinks, on the other hand, those I would avoid those at all costs. Even though there were some times I didn't do it because I just like the taste of it. And in my mind, I was like, well, this isn't really giving me any energy, so I'm just going to drink it just because, when in actuality, those things are packed with 200 milligrams of caffeine, which is not a little bit of caffeine. So some of us who have a high caffeinated tolerance will drink one and you don't feel like you feel anything. And then you'll just go have some coffee or something just to kind of feel like, okay, I need an extra kick. I need an extra boost. You got to be careful, because that caffeinated induced anxiety can just creep up on you like that. And it happened to me a number of times years after that first instant. The most recent time, I was on vacation in June. That morning, I remember having some coffee as we were eating breakfast. And when I'm on vacation, I don't drink a lot of water. I just don't. It's a reckless move on my end. Like, you're out of your routine when you're on vacation. So you basically eat what you can, drink what you can, when you can, because you're always on the move. And I remember we were going to the mall that evening. And, we get to this mall and we're walking around. Everything's fine. And then we got to the food court. And I don't know, I had this feeling of anxiousness that just came over me. I was around, there was people around. It was hot in there. I got really hot, flushed. And then it happened again. This panic attack that came out of nowhere, and I couldn't shake it. We were sitting down, me and the family were eating, and for whatever reason, I just couldn't shake it. So I asked my wife, can we leave? Now at this point, she kind of knows what's going on. I told her I think I'm dehydrated. She says, no, it's anxiety. But what I don't think she understood is that there are things that can trigger panic and that can trigger anxiety when you have deficiencies in your body. And for me, I am almost 100% sure that it was linked to dehydration. This is why sometimes you'll see me drink water in my videos. I'm a pretty big guy. I don't know if you can tell or not. I'm about 238 pounds, 6 foot. I require a lot of water. I stay in the state of Florida. It's extremely hot and humid. Yeah, you need to drink water living here, a lot of it. So we left the mall. We go back to the hotel. I hydrate, drink as much water as I can. Took a really short nap. I woke up. I was fine. After that instant right there, it started to concern me. So I was like, you know what? I think I need to look a little bit more deeper into this and see what the root cause of it is. I think me not calling it out for what it is, meaning like verbally saying I'm having a panic attack or I feel my anxiety going through the roof right now, I think that may have played a role with it, because I would always be like, I just need water, I'll be okay. Instead of calling it out for what it is, I think that was my mistake, honestly. So I start to do research as far as, what can I do to reduce anxiety? Because like I said in the beginning, like when I was a kid, I always felt rushed. I always felt like I needed to do things in a hurry. And even in my adult years, I've always kind of felt like I needed to do stuff like right now, like hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, no rest, to keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Like my brain would never shut off. Like I'm literally, my wife will tell you, I'm always thinking all the time. Like I get up in the morning thinking, I go to bed thinking, I'm in the middle of the day thinking. Have you ever had so many thoughts and so many ideas that you only get so many of them accomplished? Because you'll start one project and you'll put it down and start another project, and then you'll put it down and start another project. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I am, and I'm trying to like improve on that, because nothing ever gets accomplished. Like you can have all of these ideas, but then if you don't take your time with them, they'll never get accomplished. And because they're unfinished, this causes my anxiety to get riled up, because in my mind I'm like, why don't you ever finish anything? You have all of these great ideas, all of these projects in which you want to do, but yet they're incomplete, because you still have this mindset of rushing and rushing and rushing. So I want to share with you all out there what's actually been helping my anxiety and reducing the panic attack. I started doing some deep breathing about a good 10 minutes or so before bed. Just inhaling for about 4 seconds, holding it for 7 seconds, and then exhaling for a good 8 seconds, which is a little bit harder than you would think. But my gosh, it helped me so much. It brings oxygen to the brain, slows down the heart rate, lowers the blood pressure, puts you in a state of relaxation. I believed in it so much that I had my family do it with me as well, which ended up being more of a comedy skit than anything, because when I say that my family, we're full of characters, my kids, my wife, I'm trying to take this seriously, and we're breathing and they're blowing and making faces. I'm like, this isn't helping, guys. But it's still a good moment for us to share, to do something positive. Deep breathing helped me out a lot. I started supplementing with ashwagandha, which is a supplement that actually roots from India, and it helps reduce cortisol in the body. And if you don't know what cortisol is the stress hormone. So I took that for about a month. I felt like I don't want to say that it cured anxiety, but it definitely took the edge off. I can say that much. It definitely took the edge off. You kind of have to find what works for you. You have to find the particular dosage that may help you because everybody's different. You know, the bottle will tell you to take one dosage or another when you probably can take a little bit more depending on your weight and stuff of that nature. Reducing my social media presence. Now, I will say before I went on vacation, I was not spending a lot of time on social media. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever it's called now. Taking myself off of those platforms help lower anxiety tremendously. Because a lot of times when you get on those platforms, without even trying, you take in the energy from your news feed. Some people come on social media complaining about their life, their problems, and you're just reading it, soaking it in. And then you have other people that are just sharing, not necessarily negative stuff or bad things, but they're sharing things that, could potentially make you start questioning where you are in life. I've heard of a lot of people feeling really bad because they compare themselves to other people that they see on the internet. And they say, the best thing to stop doing that is to not use social media in the first place. And I find that just by reducing the amount of time that I spend on these platforms has helped reduce my anxiety as well, because it makes me feel like I'm in my own world. I can go at my own pace, and I don't have to look at the life of somebody else and think this is some sort of a race or whatever. That rhymed, and I wasn't even trying to rhyme. Some of you are probably wondering about the panic attacks. I'm not gonna lie, that right there, I never know when that's going to occur. But I don't let that stop me from living my life. I just left Austin, Texas last week, and I went to like my first con event, DreamCon. It's like an anime and video game convention that had over 20,000 plus people there. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, am I going to be able to handle this? Because I'm not going to be with my wife. I'm going to be with some of my best friends, and there's going to be a whole bunch of other people there that I don't know and all of that stuff, because I was thinking about what happened to me in the mall in June. So I said, you know what? There's only one way to find out. So, we went and had an amazing time. I didn't feel afraid. I didn't feel panic coming on. It was full of fun, laughter, just me and my boys just enjoying ourselves. And that really, really helped me out a lot to know that if you can be around that many people, bro, you're good. A lot of this is just in your head. I apologize, I stay near airport. So yeah, this is one of the reasons I really don't like sitting outside making videos. But I do like the ambience of being outdoors and nature and stuff like that, because it is very pretty outside right now. I'm sharing this to be vulnerable because, like I said, I am a heavy advocate for men's mental health. and opening up about the issues in which we may be wrestling with. Normalizing it, letting guys know, yo, it's okay. If you're not okay, let's talk about it. Let's discuss the problem. Let's get to the root so maybe we can find a solution. Because one thing is for sure, no solution will come about if we don't ever have these discussions. There's a lot of people who are suffering in silence who don't talk about this type of stuff. And as somebody who does wrestle with anxiety and occasional panic attacks, I know it helps me talking about it instead of keeping it a secret and sweeping it under the rug like I did for so many years. Like, I literally would not tell anybody anything, but opening up about it helps. It does. Any issue in which you may have, you open up about, you will find that it probably will help you just by verbalizing it. Now, am I saying get on camera, mic up, and start talking about what bothers you? Yes. I'm kidding. You may be a little bit more of a private person. Talk to your best friend if you have one, or somebody that you trust. And in some occasions, if you don't have anybody to talk to, maybe getting on YouTube is a good thing to do. And putting yourself out there talking about the things that bother you, because you never know, somebody in the comment section may actually have a solution. So, all right, folks, if you can relate to this video, comment down below. I thank you so much for your support, all of your love. If you like what you see, give it a like. Subscribe to the channel as well. Hit the notification bell. Talk to y'all later. Peace.